accelerated performance test design using GitHub Copilot. So here I'm going to talk through about how we are going to use GenAI assisted coding for coding intelligence. So for quality intelligence. So basically we are going to use GitHub Copilot and other coding assistants to create performance scripts for us, and we're going to see how we are going to assist the tool with our inputs to get some quality intelligence out of that. I'll give a quick introduction about myself. I'm Kavin. I'm a senior performance architect at Cognizant Technology Solutions. I'm a certified GenAI practitioner from AWS as well as GitHub Copilot. And I take care of the GenAI Center of Excellence specialist for performance and resilience engineering at Cognizant. So over this meeting, right, I try to make it as much as interactive as possible. So please try to scan this QR code. You'll be asked a couple of questions, which helps me to understand your level of expertise and knowledge in performance testing so that I can customize the session accordingly. I'll give a pause while you scan this link.
Can you possibly speak up a little bit? They're having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, sure. You want me to speak a little bit loud?
Is there a microphone? I think this is the one that's actually doing so. Possibly. It's fine. It'll be fine.
I'll talk a little bit louder.
Talk louder.
That's it. So I have split the presentation into three segments today. In the first quarter, I'll be talking about performance testing and GitHub Copilot. What is performance testing about? What are the different tools available in the market for that? And what is the role of GitHub Copilot, the coding assistant I'm going to talk today about, is going to play in performance testing, and what are the different Copilot capabilities that assist with performance testing. In my second portion, I'll be walking over a customized Copilot performance scripting framework, which we have created to assist with creating scripts in agentic AI mode, which can bulk create scripts for any performance testing tool quickly when we try to input this framework. So I'll walk through about the framework design, framework elements, and also walk through the strengths and limitations of this framework. And the last segment, right, we'll have a 60-minute performance script challenge in which, if you have access to GitHub Copilot, we'll try to see how quickly we can create a performance script in any of the performance testing tool of your choice and see how efficient Copilot is in creating those scripts. Okay. I'll also walk through our certain prompt templates, prompt libraries, which I have, which can help you understand how and what kind of prompts you can use for performance design using Copilot. Okay. So while I was starting with this presentation before 3 months, right? So I started with this quote: the future is going to be AI powered. It's not about going to be doing things faster, but how we are going to do it better, with better precision and smarter. Okay. So the thing is, like, before when I was about to finish that slides last week, a lot of things changed, and it's not the future. Almost the present is fully AI powered. I'm not sure about the different performance testing tools you guys have expertise in, but if you know, Loader is the most common performance testing tool, right? So they are launching Core PE Aviator, which is a smart AI assistant inbuilt into their product, so that the performance engineers can use that AI agent for scripting, executing, and analyzing the performance test much faster. Okay. So Dynatrace, which is a very common application performance monitoring tool, right? So they have brought Davis Copilot into their product, which helps to identify and find the root cause analysis of any performance issues automatically through AI. So like this, every tool which we use in performance testing space, right, they have brought AI flavor into that, and it's almost, it allows us to do things almost 2x times faster compared to how we're doing traditionally. So before jumping into this session, right, I'll try to give some knowledge on some buzzwords that's going on in market today. Okay, so agentic AI. So agentic AI means like how it all started with generative AI last year, right? So you give some prompt or you ask a question, and the AI model is going to respond you back with the response. That's generative AI. So this it's all about agentic AI, in which you don't want it to be a one-to-one conversation, but if you give a task to the AI model, it's going to respond you back with its activities and tasks, like how we can expect from our team member. So in our company, right, we have started using GitHub Copilot agents as a peer member, in which I can assign any issues or task to GitHub Copilot in GitHub issues, and the agent will pick up the task and it will complete the task and notify me. For example, say if I want to create 3 to 4 API scripts in any of the performance testing tool, I'm going to create an issue in GitHub and I'm going to assign it to GitHub Copilot from the dropdown. In the same way how I assign an issue to a team member, right? So the next minute I assigned the task or issue to Copilot, it's going to pick up the task. It's going to have a look at all the inputs found in the repo for the task, and it's going to create the scripts for me, which I can consume for my load testing. So this is called as agentic AI. We have agents which are going to do the work for us. The second one is vibe coding. So say you are a developer, okay, or say you are a Scrum Master. You don't know anything about performance testing, or you have no expertise in creating performance scripts, okay. So you can use vibe coding approach to create scripts or to develop applications on your own. So all you are going to do is just to give prompts into the coding assistants, which are available in the market. So you see a lot of coding assistants listed out there, right? Say GitHub Copilot or Windsurf or Cursor AI. All of these are vibe coding tools in which you can just sit and watch the tool do the action flow. The third one is MCP, Model Context Protocol. So through MCPs, we allow the AI assistants to do the testing for us. So how we have to see all these things together is, let's assume a tester who has limited knowledge in any of the performance testing tool to start with. He's just going to use vibe coding to create scripts out of that. He's going to use agentic AI to create multiple scripts very quickly compared to the traditional test design. And is going to use MCP to allow the coding agent, say GitHub Copilot or some other coding assistant which I talked about, right? It's going to allow the coding assistant to execute the test on behalf of the tester. So this is how the market is evolving, in which not only is going to be just a prompt or question we're going to ask the AI model, get the response, it's going to do the testing for us completely. So this is what I was talking about. So the generative AI, which was the last generation in which like we asked something and we got a response. The agentic AI, which gets the task from us and execute all the activities for us, and AI agents, which are going to execute the test for us. So right now there are a lot of AI agents being created, as you might have known, right? So for example, if it is LoadRunner, there is a LoadRunner MCP server in development. Or if it is Neoload, it's another performance testing tool. There's a Neoload MCP server released in market last month. So basically, you just need to tell that, hey, execute the test for this application. Can you find the high response times for this application from the sequence of load tests which you executed over the last 2 weeks? So like that, you can simply ask the AI agent for whatever things you need, and you can get the output from that. So that's going to be AI agents in action. Okay. So now, given all this background, right, I'll try to tell why we are going to use a Copilot for performance testing activities. Okay. So you all might have been aware, right? So being SDETs or dedicated performance testing professionals or QA testers. So performance testing is one of the critical phase in Q&A, in which before sign off, we ensure that the application is not only, I mean, in QA, we might have evaluated the application is functionally correct or not, whereas in performance testing, we're going to evaluate whether it is non-functionally responsive, it's fault tolerant, and it's able to scale up to the user load in production, right? So what is the challenge in performance testing? So considering the quick agile cycles, right? So we are kind of in a situation to create performance scripts in a much faster phase. Whenever there's a new production deployment or whenever there's a new enhancement to the application, right? So we end up creating multiple performance scripts for all those scenarios that have been considered business critical, right? So time constraints in creating the scripts is the main challenge. Like say if you take a script in a LoadRunner, it takes 8 hours for a medium complexity script to create that script. If you take a high complexity script, it's going to take us 16 hours of efforts. Okay, so considering this, right? So this design cycle in performance testing, it usually goes for up to 2 to 3 weeks. But considering the faster cycles these days, they just want it to get done, the entire performance testing life cycle to be done in just 1 week before the release. Okay, so because of all these things, right, this is where GitHub Copilot and other coding assistants comes into picture. Okay, so with the use of GitHub Copilot, we can create API performance scripts, and also we can create complex web scripts almost 1/4 of the time which we do traditionally. For example, if it takes 2 to 3 years for us to create an API script in Loader or K6 or any other performance testing tool, right? So when we have some customized prompt templates which guides Copilot to create scripts in a specific format, we have seen Copilot creating scripts in 1 minute or so. So in that way, we kind of able to create some automation frameworks in which, like, say, if we have a Postman collection or SOAP collection which contains 40 to 50 APIs which we need to test, right? So when we try to import all those APIs into GitHub Copilot and ask Copilot to come up with scripts, within 5 to 10 minutes, Copilot was able to create 50 load testing scripts in any of the performance testing tool we configure, and we get the script straight out of the box, which we can directly execute in the corresponding performance testing tool. So that's the kind of productivity we were able to see using GitHub Copilot. And that's where, like, I thought to explain about the Copilot framework, which can assist any of you to onboard Copilot into your teams. Okay, so as I explained, right, so the first key factor in adopting Copilot is it's going to accelerate the scripting. You're going to get the scripts in no matter time, and it's going to reduce the learning curve. For example, when I had a discussion with a couple of folks today, right, so they were using tools like Loader, they were using tools like Artillery and K6. They are exploring new tools in the market. Okay, so for example, let's say I have deep expertise in Loader, but I am new to K6 or I'm new to artillery.io, any tool, right? So I don't need to master the tool to start with the performances design. I can simply use Copilot's built-in knowledge to lower my learning curve, and with my existing knowledge in performance testing, I can create equivalent prompts with my existing Loader knowledge. I can create scripts for K6 and other tools. And again, boosting productivity, right? Say if there are like 4 to 5 folks creating scripts for an application which has some 20 scripts. Now it's possible for us to create scripts in a day using almost half of the team or 1/4 of the team. And the last thing is improving consistency. Say, let's take organizations where they have like huge performance testing team, right? For example, I work in a team where there are 50 performance engineers. The scripts created by every performance engineers, they used to vary in the format and vary in the style they create. I used to modularize few functions. Certain people used to hardcode certain values. So the scripting style differs from person to person, right? To have a consistent and easily maintainable script across every application and every functionality, right? This is useful. So when I have a constant prompt template defined and I ask Copilot to create scripts accordingly, right? Every time the scripts follow the same pattern so that whomever use the framework, right, using Copilot, they get consistent scripts. So you can wonder what are the different capabilities of GitHub Copilot that can assist with this performances design, right? So I'll jump back to the questionnaire which I had. So please spend some time to answer a few of the questions. So how many of you have already used GitHub Copilot? So I see most people using JMeter, and I see a couple of other selection as well. So what kind of tools, apart from the tools listed, we are using? The persons of
artillery.
Okay. Anyone using Locust or something? Okay. So how many of you have hands-on experience in using any of these code assistant tools, like say GitHub Copilot or Windsurf or okay.
Cursor.
Cursor. Okay. So the features are going to be same across these tools. The first option is edit, in which it allows us to add multiple files to the coding assistant. For example, let's say I have a JSON file which I exported from Postman, or XML file which I exported from SOAP UI. Okay, it contains the API details of my application. Okay, I'm going to attach that as one of the file to my coding assistant. Let it be Copilot or Windsurf or Cursor or anything, right? The second one is agent mode. So there are three options which you can see in any of these coding assistants: ask, edit, and agent. So the ask mode is to clarify your doubts or get back some coding suggestions. Okay, whereas the edit mode is like you allow the coding assistant tool to create the script automatically. You'll be just watching the tool, and the coding assistant is going to automatically touch base all the files of the particular script and going to create the scripts. And the agent mode. So the agent mode means like not only one file. For example, if I open my project file in which there are multiple load testing tools, right, or placeholders for multiple scripts, the agent mode is going to create multiple scripts inside the same folder for me. For example, K6, right? So I have a K6 frame, empty K6 frame created in which the scripts folder, right? So if I'm going to select my API project and ask Copilot, hey, use this template and create me scripts in this format, the agent mode is going to create multiple scripts out of that. I mean, say if there are 10 APIs found in that JSON which you upload, right? For all the 10 APIs, you get equivalent 10 scripts out of that. And the last one is the MCP tool support, in which, like, after creating a script in Copilot, you can simply ask Copilot, hey, can you start a load test with 10 users? Can you start a load test for 1 hour with 500 users? So whatever you want it, right? You need not open the tool or configure anything. Just ask everything through chat. It's going to execute the test straight out of the coding assistant. So how this works, right? So it's all based on context. So as I said, whatever inputs which you need, right, you have to pass them as a context. So that's what I'm going to talk through in the framework section when I'm going to explain. So every organization follows a specific template for scripting, right? They do scripts in a particular standard, right? So that goes as a context, the script template, okay? A review template. So yeah, every script will be reviewed, right? What I need to review in this script, that goes as another template, review template. And the inputs for that scripts, whether it is if it's a UI, it's going to be a hard file. If it's going to be the API, it's going to be the corresponding SOAP or REST project, right? So whatever inputs that are needed to create the script, they are going to get passed as a context in GitHub Copilot. Okay, so based on that context, Copilot is going to use its existing knowledge on performance design and is going to create the scripts. So you can wonder how we're going to use GitHub Copilot. Again, we are going to use that as a part of our coding IDEs. For example, JetBrains IDE or PyTorch or Visual Studio Code, right? All these IDEs have plugins, and GitHub Copilot is a downloadable plugin in those coding assistants. Actually, all you need to do is just open your IDE, go to plugins, search for GitHub Copilot, install that, and it's all done. Okay. So now you may wonder, what are the different tools that Copilot or other coding assistants can support well, right? So not all the tools are same. If you take K6, it's a tool which don't have any user interface. It's completely JavaScript oriented. If you take Loader, it is heavily UI based. We have a user interface in which we record the application and replay the application. If you take JMeter, it's going to be same as Loader. And again, Neoload, right? But the way in which the scripts are created in these perform system tools, they vary. So K6 is going to be fully JavaScript based. Loader is going to be fully C based. JMeter and Neoload is fully going to be tree-based scripts in which all the script elements will be coming as elements in a tree structure. Okay. So here comes the challenge. If a performance testing tool has its scripts in a complete code-based concept, right? Copilot will be able to do it completely. For example, K6 or Roadrunner, Artillery, Locust. So all these are fully code-based tools which are developer-friendly. The developers can easily create performance test scripts out of that, right? Whereas JMeter and Neoload are performance engineer-friendly. So they are designed in a way such that it is easy to create the scripts. Without any line of code, just you can arrange the UI elements to get the script out of that. So this is where Copilot cannot support or can support only moderate, because Copilot or any other coding assistants which we're discussing, right? They all work well with the code, but not with the user interface. If I open a JMeter script or Node script as a code in my IDE, right? The amount of code I'm going to see is going to be very fast, say 5,000 lines or 10,000 lines. And that is something Copilot will get kind of confused. And I would say if I want to rank the performance testing tools by Copilot usability, K6, Locust, and Artillery, they three take the first spot. Loader takes the second spot. JMeter and Neoload takes the moderate and low spots. So based on the tools which your organization uses, right, this will help you to understand whether we can use Copilot for the corresponding tool or not. So Copilot with K6. So how it works, right? So as I said, no, it is able to help us with API scripts as well as UI scripts. It helps us to create scripts, edit the existing scripts, review and fix the existing scripts. If you want to do any customized logics, it can help you to add different performance testing elements like parameters, correlations. So these things may be new if you are not a performance testing expert, right? So there are a couple of things in performance testing world which makes the script replayable for thousands of times. Say if I have like 1,000 users in production, then I have to replay the script for all the 1,000 users, right? So for that, we have to kind of parameterize all the user data inputs. We have to correlate the dynamic values. Those kind of things needs to be taken care. And all those things, Copilot is able to assist for K6. So that's why I mentioned the support strength for K6 is very strong. The same goes with Loader, which is the market standard load testing tool, which is a standard tool across commercial tool across many organizations. And recently, as I mentioned, right, Loader is also trying to bring its own coding assistant into the tool, so that even a novice who don't have a person who don't have Loader experience, right, can simply ask Loader to do these things. Hey, can you please correlate this term, parameter this term, and the assistant is going to do the scripting for us. Okay. So with this, we have completed the first segment of our presentation, in which I have given some introduction about what is GitHub Copilot and why we need to look at such coding assistance for performances design. Okay. Now, how to ensure that we get consistent output across any tool or any script or any number of iterations we use, right? So for that, we have come up with the scripting framework, which is some kind of this was kind of created by me, and this is generic. Anyone can use. If you're interested, I can share a Google Drive link in which you can download this and try it for your organization as well. So the purpose of this framework is to make sure that the scripts are consistent across any time. I'm not sure whether if you have used GitHub Copilot multiple times, there are occasional instances in which Copilot won't respond to you with the proper output, or if you keep on asking something, right? Every time the nature of the output differs. For example, if now I ask, hey, can you create a script for this HAR file or for this API details, it will create me script in a particular format. And say after that, if you try the same in your machine, there is no guarantee that the script is going to be the same. It's going to create different kinds of output for every person. The syntax is going to be the same, but the way the scripts are designed, right, that's going to be different. So to enforce the Copilot to create the scripts in a consistent way, and also to bring automation as much into this, right? This framework is designed. Let's take a typical business scenario in which your developer is giving you a Postman collection of 40 APIs. Okay, you have 40 REST APIs in that, and all the 40 APIs are business critical. You want to test the performance of all the 40 APIs. Okay, so traditionally how we do is we open every API in Postman or SOAP, copy the request body, the endpoint, the request headers, everything, and we create the scripts out of that. Okay, if you want to take the AI-based approach, which I was talking so far, then what you have to do, you have to copy paste the same things and put into the prompt editor and ask, hey, can you create a script out of that? And you get a script out of that. Okay, and we got one script. So how to bring automation into this, right? So this framework, what it does is, when you import your API collection into this, it extracts all the different APIs out of that. So we have some Python decorators in this framework, which I'm going to walk through. When we run the Python decorator set, it's going to extract the different APIs available in the project and takes all those API details and give that as an input to Copilot. Okay. Now the Copilot agent has all these 50 APIs as input. So I was talking about the Copilot agentic mode, right? So if I select the agent mode, and if I select the folder which was just created by this framework, and if I ask Copilot, hey, can you help me with the creation of these scripts? Then through agentic mode, it will start creating the scripts one by one. Okay. So for that, there are a couple of things in the framework which I'm going to explain. So basically, this is how the framework works. The framework is going to take the inputs and help you create multiple scripts in agentic mode, and hardly within 30 minutes you get the scripts for all the 50 APIs, which is kind of almost 1/10 of the time it takes manually, right? So I'll walk through how what are the different elements in this framework. Okay, so this framework is something which you can create yourself, or I can also share the framework. It's all about the concept, right? So the first part of this framework is the Python decorators, in which I have a couple of Python files for extracting the APIs. So if you are an API tester, you may know there are multiple types of APIs, right? SOAP request, REST request. So a lot of SOAP requests, a lot of APIs are there, right? So every API type has a different structure of the project actually. So for that only we have 3 different types of Python files. The functionality of the Python file is to parse the big collection which we have, which contains of thousands of 2000 lines of code, which contains all the API details, right? It's going to extract only the API details which is required for scripting from that, and it's going to put into the extracted Postman APIs folder. Okay, so consider the submit post as one of the API, right? So whatever API is available, that will only the details that is required for us will be put into this text file. Okay, so the other items in this framework, the second one is the prompt and script template, right? So the prompt template contains the instructions for Copilot. For example, I'll go over the prompt template in the next slides. Let's assume a prompt template like this. Create a API load test script for the attached APIs for using cases, and incorporate these things. Add parameterization, add correlation, add text checks. So all those performance testing elements will be in that prompt template. And also we have a script template. I'm going to attach a sample script which I already have, so that the new script that I'm going to create is going to be same as my scripts. It's not be like kind of a different script, right? To force the framework to follow the similar template, I am passing the script template. The third one is review and summary template. Let's assume that someone else have already created the script, right? You being the senior QA, you want to review those scripts. Then in that cases, you can open the script, and also you can use the review and summary template to review the existing scripts and make any changes if required. And other things are like optional, which you can add as much as templates you want. The boiler template means like say a template which explains how the script works. Parameter template means like in what format the parameter should be created for multiple users and multiple iterations. And a prompt library which everyone in the team can use to create the scripts. For example, assume you are a QA tester and you don't have any knowledge in performance testing, right? By just look at the prompt library, you can use those prompts and ask Copilot to create the scripts for you. So that's how this framework works. And this is pretty much what I explained. I'll show you some sample prompts, right? So create a K6 API script for the API details as per the prompt template. Apply the script template to generate a structured script with transactions and headers. So like that, the prompts need not to be very much complicated. You can give a simple prompt because the complicated part of the prompt structure is taken care as a part of the template. If you open the prompt template.txt, right, that is going to have all the technical stuff for creating the script. All I'm going to do is just some natural English prompt, which is going to refer the original prompt template and create the script for us. Okay. So these are the different elements. Probably this is pretty much self-explanatory based on what I was explaining so far. So what are the different features of this framework, right? So I mean, the reason why I named this as framework is it's not some like a commercial product which I have or something. This is an open source framework. The name framework I gave because Artillery or K6, all the open source tools, right? In order to follow a similar process across the organization, we use the word framework. So if you see folks who are using K6, right, they will say we're using a customized K6 framework for our organization. The same way, that's why I've used the term framework here. So these are the different features of this framework. As I said, right, it can create the scripts, generate the scripts in agentic mode.
5 minutes.
5 more minutes. Okay, thank you. It can fix any errors with the script. It can review the scripts. It can optimize the existing scripts for any better practices. It can summarize the script. So like this, whatever assistance we need with respect to creating of a performance script, right, it supports that. This is something I already covered. Yeah, so to import this framework, what we have to do, right? So let's open a new empty folder in our Visual Studio Code, which is our IDE. Okay, I'm going to clone this framework from GitHub. So this framework is going to be in GitHub. I'm going to clone the framework into my workspace, and then I'm going to copy paste my SOAP project or Postman project into the framework, and then I'm going to add all the files to Copilot edits, and then I'm going to ask it to generate the scripts, and then I'm going to review the created scripts, and I'm going to replay the script. So this is going to be the typical workflow of this framework. So don't think it's completely agentic, because we want this to be a kind of reviewed by performance engineers as well. So I have brought the concept of human in the loop. So every prompt, right, even after you give, it's going to ask you accept or reject based on the thing. Say after creating everything, right, the performance engineer has the liberty to review the code and accept or reject the script as per his convenience. So in this way, we can be assured that the scripts are not generated randomly. It's peer reviewed by the performance engineer. Okay, so you can think, okay, is it going to do everything? Is it's if it's are there any drawbacks, right? So yeah, the basic scripting and everything is going to take care, but there are certain boundaries as well, right? This being a coding assistant, it can work on the script, but it cannot record the script, right? It's where we have to record the script ourselves, and it's not going to find whatever values it can auto correlate or it can parameterize, right? We have to guide it what are the things it has to do. And in case of any replay errors, right, still it needs some performance testing expertise, where we ask Copilot, hey, you have to fix these errors in this way to fix it. So like that, it has its own boundaries as well. But I believe it's expanding, and probably in the near future, it will be completely creating the scripts 100% in a working stage. So we'll have a quick 1 minute challenge. Probably you can do this after the session as well. If you scan this, right, you'll get a prompt template, which I was talking about. I'll give a minute. Sorry, I'll give 1 more minute for this. Okay. So this is going to take you a link where you can see a sample prompt. Yeah, this is going to be the prompt template actually. So basically, this is how a prompt looks. Okay, so I'm going to ask it, hey, create a performance testing script for this service using whatever coding language, and I'm going to guide it to do that. Simply, if I ask it to create a script, it can't create the script. I have to guide it in a proper way such that it follows certain standard performance testing guidelines to create the script, right? So probably feel free to try this for, I mean, this exact prompt will work because I have added some sample endpoints. Just try this out. You'll get a script, and that will be in a runnable state actually. Okay, done, right?
Time for questions.
Okay. That's it. Yeah, this is how it works actually. This is what I wanted to convey. So you can take this as a 60-second performance script challenge. So traditionally, to create a script out of this, right, it will take hardly 2 hours. But using this, you'll be interested to see within 1 minute you're able to create a script. So try this out, and if you have any questions, please can go ahead.
Question time. So anybody with this is the card time. So if you guys got questions or things you want to talk about, pull out your cards and we can get the game rolling. Cards, you got it. That's okay. One. Oh. Do you have initials on it? Okay, thank you. Just got to do it right. All right.
First time.
Dennis, go ahead.
You mentioned you can look for Copilot in your IDE extension, like a attachment that you start using it right away. So does that mean Copilot is free to use, open source?
Okay, so Copilot comes with the pricing model. It's very minimalistic, just $10 per month. And Copilot has integrations with all the market-leading AI models. You have the option to select any model you want, say GPT-4 or Claude, whatever model you want, you can select from the drop-down and you can use in Copilot. So probably I'll quickly show this. Okay, so this is how a typical screen looks like. Okay, so here you can select the model which you want, and here you can select the agent mode or normal mode, and you can use it here. So basically, it's priced one.
Okay. SM.
So, I was just wondering, how do you manage your different environments? Like, do you have a performance environment to run all your tests, or on which environment do you prefer to run the tests?
Okay.
So currently, we are using a branch deploy process where we deploy our code almost 5 to 8 times a day directly to prod environment. So I would like to know how would you manage the performance tests if you are in my
It's always recommended to have a dedicated performance testing environment because at the same time, if QA engineers are doing the testing, right, so the performance results can be performance load on the system can make the QA engineers feel the application is slow. So and also to isolate the functional issues and non-functional issues, right, it's always recommended to have a dedicated performance testing environment. And also it's recommended to have a performance testing environment which is equivalent to production size.
BW.
Oh, yes. The question is, you're doing your load testing, how do you use the logging in process? Does it go on Copilot, have security, is it encrypted? Doing that application for login, you don't want credentials there.
Yeah, so anyways, we'll be using QA credentials for logging it. We're not doing this production credentials. So whatever we are going to use in QA is going to be safe. And on top of that, every and GitHub Copilot now comes like a Office 365 license. Okay, it's more tied with Microsoft, right? So Microsoft has certain guardrails implemented in which they make sure if you put any sensitive data like PA data into the prompt, right, it's automatically going to block you from continuing. Like say to simply say input is done, please retry the question. So there are guardrails set up which will make sure that sensitive data are blocked before sharing.
G.
For your presentation, it's been mainly around K6, but looking at a lot of your prompting, it looks like I could exchange a lot of anything that says K6 for, say, something like artillery, and it's going to generate YAML instead of JavaScript. But is there anything that I missed about your presentation that kind of ties to why this would be better in K6 versus something like artillery?
Okay. So I wanted to pick K6 because that's a more developer-centric tool and that's the most widely used open source tool compared to artillery and locust. So I was not aware there will be much folks using artillery because I heard 2 to 3 engineers are using artillery. So probably this is kind of adaptable across any tool. Again, artillery being using the same approach as K6, except the fact that after it uses YAML code instead of JavaScript, right? So this, if you slightly make some adjustments to the prompt or the basic prompt template which I was showing, right? In this, I have added some K6 specific syntax.
Yeah.
If you can update this to artillery, this is going to work for artillery as well.
Okay.
Other questions?
So usually for performance testing, right, we usually begin with certain amount of virtual users and then slowly increase around that. When we are automating that whole process, how does it work?
Okay, so that's where like we have these tools, right? So basically you record one flow. Say if you take one critical business scenario, right? You record that business scenario. and you are going to create a scenario in this tool, like say whether K6 or Lotan or anywhere, right? You create a scenario in which you configure the total number of users and the total number of iterations you want the script to execute. So after configuring that, right, it's going to execute the same script for the different users by just varying the username, passwords, other inputs that you want to vary, and it will replay for the same thing. So just you need to record the script once and replay for multiple users. So that's the core functionality of the performance testing tool actually.
Any other questions? How can we learn more? Or how can we connect with you?
Sure. That's going to be my last slide.
Excellent.
Who puts that on their lap? Oh, wait, I was supposed to.
Yes.
Okay, so feel free to connect with me over LinkedIn. I'm available to share any inputs on performance engineering. I love to connect with you guys, and I can also share you the performance system framework if you want to.